Hey Capricorn, welcome to December 2020. We're here. We've made it to the end. So I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot and my Prism Tarot. I'm gonna get some cards out, and while I do, I just want to tell you that I started your reading and there were a lot of distractions, so I kind of had to start over. But the message that really came out for you originally was to take this December and really process just the whole entire year. And that included a little bit of potential grieving. Maybe, this was rough. A lot of us experienced literal death or job loss, things of the sort. I know I did in my life, experienced a little bit of trauma, and so I think December is kind of asking us to, and when horrible things happen, sometimes we can kind of get into a survival mode such that we just kind of put our grief on pause and we're like, put a pin in that. I can't feel all my feelings right now. I'm just going to try to make it through to survive. And that might have been the case for you. And so then December's kind of an invitation into now that you have an opportunity maybe to slow down, the holiday breaks are here. Maybe there's less obligations or less pressure. There's just kind of a need to take that time that's being offered to you to really let everything come up and release it and to transmute it into some kind of healing or, And then the other part of that message that came up in the original reading was about your dreams and kind of being willing to make some revisions around those dreams, in terms of where you're moving forward, what might be possible for you in the future might be different than what you expected because everything has been kind of thrown up into the air. And so December is not only about releasing and grieving what has happened in 2020 and processing that, but it's also about when you do kind of look forward to have an openness and flexibility about fulfilling your core needs while being, again, open to changing how those play out. I'll look at the cards that came out this time, and then we can maybe circle back to that message. So we got the Knight of Swords in reverse, the King of Cups in reverse for you from the Modern Witch Tarot. We also have the Ace of Wands, the Hermit in reverse, and the Knight of Pentacles. Lots of court cards here. And then from my Prism Tarot, we have Apprentice of Gems, Efficiency. We have Four of Raindrops, Contemplation. Yeah, absolutely. 10 of Raindrops, Fulfillment. Love to see that. Oracle of Gems, Practicality. And Two of Clouds, Indecision. So I'm interested in these court cards right off the bat, just because there were so many of them. We have the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, these two knights, and we have a King of Water. Actually, I kind of feel like I want to talk about him or her. This could be a woman. It just is masculine energy, meaning gang energy, meaning being active or being kind of also, specifically the King of Cups is a card of holding space for others or being able to kind of, I think, be the container for a lot of emotions. And I was talking about kind of the need to go through a grief process at the beginning of this reading. And so with the King of Cups in reverse, I just feel and we also got this contemplation. I think it's just important to know, Capricorn, that some of this healing might be intense or it might just be a lot. I kind of get with him in reverse a little bit of overwhelm, a little bit of a little bit of doubt about can I hold. It's kind of this is what I'm getting, and sometimes my readings are getting a little more esoteric, I guess, but it's you have to get to the other side of 2020, and to do that you have to kind of go inward meaning almost go backwards. You have to like kind of go and process where you've been, what you've felt. And it's not even like necessarily like a logical thinking, like trying to grasp lessons from it. It's more just kind of trying to, this contemplation, this Four of Raindrops, it's kind of having to, so what I'm getting is it's like, here's 2020, here's 2020, or vice versa, 2020, 2021. You have to like kind of go under the water, like through a tunnel to get to the other side of this thing, right? And it's really like kind of a going into your feelings and feeling the feelings that you, again, maybe put on hold. That contemplation, that like, it's almost a looking back, but it's like a looking back to go forward. And so with him in reverse, it almost just feels like 2020 has been so much stuff, especially Capricorn. I mean, Jesus Christ, we've had Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto conjunct in your sign. So it's been like really major transformation for you. Saturn's moving into Aquarius. So it's kind of like the trauma is past. This isn't about trauma, being re-traumatized. It's kind of more like if you've been to war and you return home, it's like you're shell-shocked. You're like, whoa, what just happened? I'm gonna sneeze, hold on. Okay, whoops. Okay, anyway. Or if you get out of a bad relationship even, in which maybe you literally did. It's like if you get out of a bad relationship, you know, it's like you want there to be this sense of relief that you like are on the other side of it, but it's like you're, now that you have space from the thing, or this hindsight to have the contemplation, it's like realizing just how heavy it is. And so again, visually, I'm kind of getting like going underneath through your emotions. And so with the King of Cups, it's like, do I have enough, like, can I hold my breath that long in a way, like to move through underwater, like this, all this substance? So I'm going on and on about this, but it just felt like a really big part of the original message I was getting for you. And, that feels like it's coming up again. And I'm kind of actually feeling that with the Hermit in reverse too. As opposed to you going out and being social, it's like this time is calling for you to continue to stay inward, but almost to go inward on a deeper level, I'd say. Like maybe this whole year, you know, you've been inside in quarantine, but you've been like pretty like active on Zoom or like FaceTiming friends. Like you like even within quarantine, it's possible for us to have had like really social lives in a way through the internet. And I mean, look, she's like looking on a laptop, right? And she's closing it. And I think, or well, she could be opening it, but I'm going with that she's closing it. And I think that because there's so much heavy stuff to just process, again, not happening in December, but just December is your opportunity to really like get this closure on this year. I think that there could be a want to continue to distract yourself from feeling all the feelings, but it just feels very important that you are willing to like maybe take just complete like to literally unplug, like maybe do a whole day of deliberately not being on your phone or on the computer, maybe doing breath work, maybe going outside and just sitting and staring in a space. I think because that's also going to help you with all that processing stuff I was talking about at the beginning. And the contemplation, again, doesn't have to be like an active thinking process. It's more just like giving your body almost time to acclimate and to like kind of move through a lot of the emotions. So it's like kind of the less you do, the better in December, which I think is super hard for Capricorn in general, because you're the goat, you know, you like to get to the top of the mountain, you're a very active sign, you're about work. I know because I'm a Capricorn moon, and good Lord, has this year really been a lot for me. We also got practicality and efficiency, as well as this Knight of Pentacles. And so, you know, there's all the feeling aspect of this month. And then I think there's also the you just being you, right? Like, you are a Capricorn. You love work and ambition in the sense of like, I think that is how you fulfill your kind of like life purpose in this world. It's like you are really concerned with the material, the like physical, the what you're building, the legacy you're leaving behind, because that's part of your soul's mission. So sometimes that whole like take a pause and breathe and don't do anything advice just feels, you know, counterintuitive. And you are, I would say the Knight of Pentacles is Capricorn energy, as well as Virgo and oh my goodness, Taurus. So in terms of efficiency, the Apprentice of Gems, which is actually another echo of the Knight, and the Oracle of Gems, which is the Queen, practicality, we have all this kind of like court card energy of your element. And I would say that it's like you don't have to stop being you to heal. That's not what I was saying earlier. It's like, in a way, efficiency, if you're running low on batteries, you're not very efficient. And it's not practical to drive a car when the tank is low and there's not a gas station very close by. Like, you really do need to refuel. So that's kind of partly what I'm getting here, and maybe I can return. But I think part of the other message I was getting before, and maybe that's what I'll talk about here, is to look at your dreams and just to do a little bit of like revisioning on how you're going to approach it. So an example I gave in the reading that got deleted because it was just too distracted was like, so the example I gave was like, what if you wanted to own an ice cream shop, a brick and mortar mom and pop shop on the corner, and the reason why you wanted to do that was because your grandpa taught you how to make ice cream, and so it was your dream to like honor him and to like kind of carry on his legacy, and that's part of your soul's path. So the physical store isn't just about the physical store to you, it's about the meaning behind it. And now we're in this COVID world, and you were maybe, before COVID hit, like in the midst of buying the property, and then that all fell apart. That's part of the grieving and the contemplation maybe that would be then going on, is like, wow, all my plans got foiled this year. And so with this, it's like, it's like, don't stop being who you are. Don't stop having your dreams. Don't stop trying to build what you want to build. But what was important about the mom and pop shop on the corner that doesn't really seem possible anymore? What was important was your connection with your grandpa. Is there another way to honor him in your work, right? So one way that might play out is like, was there something else that was important between you and your grandpa that you can kind of spin that into a new plan for what you're building in the world? Or is there a way to kind of create your business online with efficiency and practicality? And with the Knight of Pentacles, I think this to me is just saying part of what the world is asking for you is just to adapt a little bit to the way it's changing, and to take your initial seeds, your initial plans, and just kind of be, again, open and flexible about how those ideas can play out. We have here the Knight of Swords in this indecision, and that's sort of what I feel is maybe part of the, like, there might be, Capricorn, a little bit of resistance on your end to making some of these shifts. Like, because especially Capricorns, we can be stubborn and we can get really fixated on something. It's kind of like, one of my favorite stories is about a mountain, like probably Mount Everest or something, and there were two paths to get to the top of the mountain. And I might have told this story on this channel before. There was like the tired and true path that was like already paved and like had been done, and then there was a back road that no one had really successfully used to climb to the top of the mountain. And so some people would try to want to go that back path that had never really been accomplished before, And they would make that their whole identity. And it was like the harder it got, the more committed they became to going that way, even though everything was kind of telling them this isn't going to work. But like their whole kind of sense of self had been about overcoming the odds and being the first to do the thing that no one else could do. And so I feel like a lot of this month in December is kind of like saying like, hey, 2020 knocked you on your ass, and it did that for a reason. So can you kind of like, process, digest, understand the ways that the world is trying to get you to shift so that you can move forward again? And you might be like, but no, like, my grandpa, like, the only way he's gonna be proud of me, or like the only way I can truly honor him, is to fulfill his dream of opening a mom and pop shop on the corner. And that's kind of what I'm getting here with the Knight of Swords, and the indecision is just kind of more like a reluctance to accept new ideas or new paths, or just a disappointment that the fact that's like kind of the work that you're being asked to do. I know that for myself, actually, like, I have a project I'm really like in love with. It feels like what my soul has to say, and I feel the universe kind of shifting me towards this different project that feels less like personal to me. It feels like not quite what I wanted to say, but also the thing I'm maybe being redirected towards has a lot more to do with my community, and it has a lot more to do with collaborating with other people, and it has a lot less to do with me and myself, and a lot more with like kind of supporting and empowering others alongside myself. But I'm so attached to that one thing that was really about my heart and my soul. So I think take that for what you will, but that's sort of what I'm getting here, is just the indecision feels more, actually, I mean, I know the swords are a mental energy, but it feels almost more like emotional indecision, like kind of part of that stubbornness, or with like what I was saying, like that path up the mountain. It's like 2020 has taught you this path, this back road is just not for you. You should take the way that everyone else is going to get to the top of the mountain. And you might be like, but that totally defeats the whole purpose of even going to the top of the mountain, because the whole point of me going to the top of the mountain was to be the first to do it in this new, brand new way. That's what I'm getting. But again, I think December is kind of like saying, hey, well, be practical, be efficient, be realistic about what you can build, like kind of honor your limitations in a way, especially since so much has happened this year, and so much of it has been about, processing all of this like heavy stuff, and like, really take the pause so that maybe you can kind of, if you are having a little bit of like resistance around accepting a new way of approaching your life, maybe by kind of like just turning your mind off for a second, because this is still mental energy, even though it felt emotionally based. Our thoughts are very tied to our emotions. So it's like, if you can turn off whatever narrative is spinning in your head about the importance of taking this difficult road and what that means about who you are, if you can turn that off for a second and just like let the dust settle, you might just kind of find yourself getting excited. Ace of Wands, right? Like inspired by the new road that is really making itself available and open to you, and like kind of encouraged, because like, let's just say to bring it back to the mountain thing, if you were taking the really hard, difficult road that no one had ever done, and it's just like, there's a blizzard, there's a snowstorm, you and your team ran out of food, like, it's just, you're gonna die, basically, if you just keep trying to force yourself to the top that way. And so in December, you're having to, again, take that pause and really come to terms with the fact that you're going to have to like turn around and shift and look for a more practical, efficient way to do what you do, a more practical, efficient way of being you. And I think if you can kind of like really, again, take that pause, go inward, just let yourself feel maybe the grief, again, feeling the grief of the fact that you aren't going to maybe be able to get to the top of the mountain the way that you really wanted to. If you can feel that grief. then you might actually be like, you know what though? Like, this is good. This is good that I'm not going to die. And this is good that I have still opportunities available to me. So, like, to bring it to the mom and pop shop example and the ice cream, that was just totally a thing I made up. It's not, like, real, right? But, like, maybe all of a sudden you're like, wow, you know what, though? Like, if I do an online business, I can sell to people all over the world. Like, before, when I just wanted to do it on the corner of my, local area, I was only going to be able to sell to the people in my immediate vicinity. But now that maybe I'm opening things up to a new way, I'm seeing all these different possibilities that, like, I didn't even really expect. So yeah, like, maybe with ice cream, it's like I can sell it across the world, and that's actually bigger and better, because then I can really honor my grandpa by telling his story to, a much wider audience than I actually initially expected. So it's kind of like with the Ace of Wands, and then we got fulfillment, right? So I think that's what Ten of Raindrops, aka Ten of Cups, that's kind of what I'm feeling. I think it's like, once you can grieve and let go of the loss of the way you thought you were going to do things, the way you thought your life was going to go, and once you kind of move past the inner chatter, the narrative about how disappointing or how important it was for you to do things a particular way because you had already invested so much energy in it, like sunk costs type of thing, right? Like with this energy. And once you kind of open yourself up to, like, it's not about giving up on everything I'm doing completely. I'm still going to the top of the mountain. I'm just doing it in a more efficient and practical way. And maybe I have a little bit more support now too. And it's like I was saying, like, I had a project that was all about me and kind of my journey, but if I open it up to including other people in the journey, then suddenly it's about something even bigger than myself, or ice cream, right? Like, it's about something bigger than myself, fulfillment. It's more about community and not just my own individual happiness, but this shared happiness that's actually bigger and kind of like more amplified. So it's a really beautiful energy when you get yourself to that place of kind of processing this year, processing all the grief and all of the disappointment and all of the losses of kind of the path you thought you were on, really kind of maybe forcing yourself a little bit to take a pause so that you can move past some mental chatter and some mental kind of blocks, mental emotional blocks about like an old narrative about the way you thought things were going to be, so that you can open yourself up to a more practical, efficient way of doing things. And you're not really giving up on you or who you are or what your destiny is. You're still going there. It's just you're doing it in this new way that's more exciting, and it's actually bigger and like kind of more fulfillment than what you originally planned on. Like when you were trying to go the back road, maybe you were going all alone. And when you start going up the path like the way that everyone else is going, you're meeting friends along the way as you go to the top of the mountain. Just as a metaphor. It's kind of what I'm getting. It's like you, at some point, can find a way to get excited about the new roads that are opening up to you. And it's really bringing you to true happiness, true fulfillment. So partly it's about letting go of a little bit of ego stuff maybe too, or just a little bit of like attachment to old desires and just restructuring those desires a little bit so that they're reinvigorated with new freshness, like aces, like, right? Sparks. So it's like sparking the old idea with new energy that actually brings more fulfillment. That is my reading for you. I'm glad we got there. And I'm wishing you a very happy December, and I love you, and I will see you again in 2021. All right. Bye.